How can we build relationship and family if you don't have time? I want family.
Not agreed
and you
to
knew
have a
it.
family.
What do you mean you not agree? You said we're gonna work on it.
I've never agreed to have a family with you.
You can literally see the moment that Natalie's heart breaks as she realises this is happening again. Josh has again weaseled his way back into her life with false promises, only to let the mask slip and reveal that he's just not that into her. So, is that the end? Is Natalie done with Josh once and for all?
Okay. Bye.
He can't say it any clearer, Natalie. I never agreed to have a family with you.
I've never agreed to have a family with you.
But before we dive into the fallout of that statement, let's rewind to the start. So we left Natalie as she was being unbelievably rude. Every time that Sophie spoke during group therapy, Natalie began laughing like a maniac. She wants all the attention on her. She wants everyone to stop what they're doing, interrupt someone else's therapy, and listen to her. Give her their undivided attention. So go ahead, Natalie. What is it that you have to say that's so important?
Everybody attacked our couple and it felt like really wrong. I have nothing against people.
You have no respect for therapy.
They all talk. Did I interrupt?
Yes, you
No.
laughed while I spoke.
How quickly she forgets that, yes, she did interrupt Sophie multiple times. But who cares about anyone else, right? She was attacked for cheating, so that has to take priority. At least in her world it does. And when, surprisingly, the therapist gives her the time of day, when he asks how Josh feels about this. For once, he actually has Natalie's back.
I think that Natalie felt attacked by everybody, and so, I'm, getting her back.
I think you guys, you're really demonstrating something strong between the two of you.
Look, on the one hand, I admire Josh for backing Natalie, even though she's wrong. But on the other hand, I don't really think that he actually believes this. He's backing her because he's forced to back her. I don't really think he cares all that much whether or not they cheated. But the problem he faces, in fact, the problem they both face, is that everyone can see right through Natalie.
Even before Josh's side of it, I think that Natalie has a personal problem with girls like Sophie. Trying to assess it, I think Natalie's just mad that Sophie is the young, pretty girl.
Yeah, I think physical jealousy probably does play a big role here. Like, we've heard Natalie make jealous barbs against Sophie's appearance. The truth is, Sophie has everything that Natalie probably wants. She's young, she's pretty, she's married to a good-looking guy, and more importantly, her man actually fights for her. Natalie doesn't have that. She's constantly left having to make do with the bare minimum. Like, just take, for example, later on this episode, when Josh has an interesting reaction to having to do sex therapy with Natalie.
We are going to have our first therapy together, and it's going to be sex therapy.
Oh, I'm excited. Like a child before Christmas.
Look at Natalie's face, now look at Josh's. He can't even pretend for a second that this is something that he wants to do. Like, just forget love. We all know he doesn't love her. But right now, watching this, I'm finding it hard to believe that Josh is even attracted to Natalie. Natalie can't contain her excitement, and Josh, well...
Well, I don't really want to put that on my body.
Josh.
Well, we're gonna lick it off.
I just don't like messy, like to be like syrups on my body.
Josh is immediately resistant to the challenge. So is that because he's grossed out by chocolate sauce? Or is he avoiding this task for another reason? Now, he tells the therapist that sex isn't something that he and Natalie have any issues with. But the therapist questions that.
Sex is more than just about pleasure. It's very much about intimacy and being vulnerable and feeling naked in front of each other.
Please, it's a nice game. Please for me. Please, Josh!
Now, eventually, with a lot of persuading, Josh does reluctantly agree to paint Natalie. The concept, the goal here, is to find each other's erogenous zones. They need to paint them with syrup and then lick them off. Sounds pretty simple, right?
Now, Josh, it's time to remove them.
Okay.
No, lick it. You have
What?
to.
I'm going to remove it.
Wiping it off like this, especially when Natalie is so keen to be touched or licked, kind of defeats the whole purpose of the exercise. If the therapist was hoping to develop intimacy rather than just sex as a physical activity, they haven't got much further here. Now, it gets worse, right? Because when it becomes Natalie's turn to put on and lick off the syrup, Josh refuses to take his shirt off. He claims he's just not into it. He doesn't like personal displays of affection. But all of his resistance, derailing the very purpose of this exercise, and more than that, rejecting Natalie in this way, really begins to piss Natalie off.
I don't, yeah, but...
What you don't? It's a fruit. Stop insulting me.
Natalie sees this as an insult. She sees it as a slap in the face that her boyfriend is basically rejecting any form of personal affection. Now, of course, perhaps there is another reason why Josh is disconnected. Maybe all the stuff that's going on back home with his son is causing him to, let's say, not be in the mood. But whether or not that is a factor, the therapist isn't exactly encouraged by what she sees. In fact, in a bid to try and maybe give them a bit more privacy, maybe hopefully try and make them a bit more comfortable alone, she decides to leave the room.
He seems a bit disconnected. I believe them when they say they have a great sex life, but I don't believe them when they say it doesn't need any fixes.
And it works. Alone, together, behind closed doors, Josh does take his shirt off and lets Natalie paint him with the sauce. He even lets her lick it off. But there's a problem. You see, this isn't the sensual experience that it's supposed to be. In fact, it actually makes for quite uncomfortable viewing. Like, just look at Josh. He stands there, arms stiff by his sides, clearly not really enjoying it. And as soon as Natalie's finished, he rushes to the bathroom to wash it off.
Give me 5.
Nice job.
Great team. Done.
But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like the stuff on my body.
Okay, look, maybe he really does have an issue with the texture of the syrup. Perhaps that really is the case. But, surprisingly, Josh does ask for some advice. He claims that when he and Natalie have sex, the immediate aftermath, and by that I mean the subsequent days that follow, always seem to have some sort of drama. It's as if we have sex, and then she seems to change, he says.
She wants a lot more of me and my time, stay here, let's go have breakfast, let's do this. But my time is methodically thought out.
What a nightmare, hey Josh? You have sex with your girlfriend, you do the most intimate thing you can do, and then heaven forbid she wants to spend time with you. I've got much more important things to do with my meticulously planned time. Honestly, this therapist definitely has her work cut out if, what was it she was saying? She wants to teach them to be vulnerable and feel naked in front of each other? Yeah, good luck with that. Look, Natalie clearly craves closeness to Josh. This isn't just about good sex, it's not just about the physical. She wants and she deserves to be also satisfied emotionally, but she's not getting that. And perhaps that explains why she's so clingy.
How can we build relationship and family if you don't have time? I want family.
Not agreed
and
to
you knew
have
it.
a family.
What do you mean you not agree? You said we're gonna work on it.
I've never agreed to have a family with you.
Ouch. And just like that, we're back to square one. This is the exact same argument that these two keep on having. Natalie is dating Josh in the hope that one day they might be able to have their own family. Now, Natalie has made that very clear. Josh knows that, right? But he has no intention to have a family with her. And the most shocking part is, even though he has also made that pretty clear, every single time that Natalie relearns this information, she acts totally shocked.
He would come back and he would say, we work on our relationship. You lied to me. Why you do this to me?
Okay, I think we're getting a little out of hand here.
No, you cannot do this to me.
Does it surprise anyone that Josh can't even commit to the concept of one day having a family with her? Like, even that, one day, far in the future, some undefined period of time, even that is too much to ask. Now, of course, that is his right. No one should be forced into having a family they don't want. But if Natalie's goal is to have kids, if that is what she wants more than anything in the world, she really is with the wrong guy. And I think this realization, or more accurately, realizing it again for the umpteenth time, causes Natalie to totally lose it.
Name, what are we?
What do you want to hear?
What we are. What we are.
I think that's why we're here trying to figure it out. Yeah,
So tell it, I'm your girlfriend, who I am.
Natalie losing her temper like this completely invalidates her argument. Instead of having a good point, she becomes just a crazy lady with anger issues. But if you look past her anger, and of course I know it's difficult, but look past that for a second and tell me this, right? What on earth is Josh doing at this resort? He's not taking the session seriously, right? He's not been present for many days. He doesn't seem to have any real desire or interest in building a future with Natalie. So why the f*** is he here?
What brings you here? Why are you here?
Yeah, why are you here?
I'm here to see if we can have a normal relationship.
Okay.
Now, Josh then goes one step further. He says he's here to see if the therapist can quote-unquote fix Natalie.
If that is not fixed, there's no relationship.
He wants to see if they can help her to get her temper under control and react normally in social settings. And then maybe at that point, he might open up his existing family to her. But the problem is, even that tiny little baby step is something that Natalie right now is a very long way away from.
Because he doesn't want to be committed to me. He's not
It's
committed.
not that I don't want to, Natalie. I cannot give you
Maybe
like,
just
that
you take
extra
knife
time.
and kill me. That's it, I'm die.
I feel bad for Natalie in the sense that Josh is just an impossible person, but she's so caught up in her dramatics that she's failed to realise Josh has just opened up. He has just explained what he needed from her. He's told her she just needs to calm down, but that's gone over her head. Now, the therapist tells Natalie that just because what Josh has said has hurt her, that doesn't make it invalid.
You have to allow your partner to have feelings in the same way you do.
But it's at that point that Natalie's entire demeanour changes.
I don't want to defend myself. We need another therapist too, because you are sexual therapist, so we do sexual therapy. As we discuss.
Natalie expected the therapist to be on her side. The fact that she's just stuck up for Josh has caused Natalie to begin talking down to her and begin emotionally shutting down. Like, how dare she, right? How dare she call me out on my behaviour? I don't want to take part in this session anymore. And it's at that point, Natalie begins to rudely usher the therapist out of the room. All the while Josh is sat there with his head in his hands.
In order for Natalie to really commit to this process, she's gonna have to regulate her emotions and really sit with herself.
But Natalie can't do it. Like, she's been given that chance. After her own private solo therapy, she was given the chance to turn over a new leaf. She was asked to self-reflect and apologise. But she can't. She just can't do it. She apologised and then she started mocking and laughing at Sophie. She went straight back to her old habits of being completely disrespectful. But, of course, as ever, it's never her fault.
Okay. Bye.
Look, the sad thing is, unless Natalie can really work on herself, unless she can address her own personality flaws, characteristics she possesses that have led to, multiple divorces at this point, the truth is, there's not too many people in this earth that will want to start a family with her. That might be harsh, but it's true. She really does need help. And it's sad that she reacts in this way when someone tries to help. The truth is, this isn't just a last resort for Josh and Natalie as a couple. It feels like the last resort to try and get through to Natalie. Period.